Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of 1998 Represent. In this episode, we're taking a look at Neutral Milk Hotel's second album, In the Aeroplane Over the Sea. This is going to be kind of a hard album to discuss just because, it has so many different genres and, like, it's just a very it's an amazing album. It's just very hard and weird to kind of categorize it. So this is just going to start by taking a look at the album. I actually picked this up on vinyl. I want to say it showed up like last week. But here is the front cover, and I don't know what it is about this cover or just this artwork in general. It has me feel this weird sense of nostalgia for something I've maybe seen before, but I don't. It's weird because it makes me nostalgic, but I'm not sure what it makes me nostalgic for or nostalgic of, if that makes any sense. So there is the front cover there, and you have this amazing artwork on the back as well. Not really sure what style of artwork this is, but it looks like that. If you fold it open, you have obviously that whole thing there, and then you have your liner notes and even more amazing artwork right there as well. And let me just pop this out of the sleeve. I keep it nicely. It's still. Oh, that's the download code I left in there. But and then we have the actual record itself right there, side one and side one. I'm looking at side one right now. So there's one and that is two. But just an amazing album. I'm going to grab my notes here for it in just a moment. Make sure that goes in there nicely. So, some basic background information on this album. Released February 10th, 1998. Like I said earlier, the multiple genres kind of on display. I was just doing research for it, and even they were it's kind of the thing I was reading was saying it was kind of hard to categorize because it's I believe they basically kind of settled on calling it, what was it? Indie rock, psychedelic folk, and lo-fi. And indie, to me, I've always kind of just felt that indie wasn't necessarily a genre, but this album is so weird that I guess just calling it indie rock is fine. I'd usually just be like, okay, well, it's indie, but it's rock. It's indie, but it's hip hop or whatever it might be. But yeah, this album, it features. I think the notes I had were saying it was choral music. Let me just see what the listing was. Is Eastern European choral music, Canterbury sound, circus music, and so on. And they're using very. I think it was they were saying it was compressed. The compression on the album is what makes it sound the way it sounds. They definitely have your very twangy guitars on there. There's some various horns and what have you, obviously drums and what have you. But then there's also the singing saw. So I'm not sure if the singing saw is if you just take, because I know if you just take a regular hand saw, you can kind of bend it and it'll make various sounds. I don't know if there was ever an instrument that was just that. I know people have used it as an instrument, but I don't know is it a thing where they make specific saws for making music. I'm not really sure. But there is something called the Uillean pipes, which I guess are they're bagpipes basically, but I guess there are the Irish version of the bagpipes and not the Scottish version. There was something called the Zanny. I'm probably gonna mispronounce this. The Zanziathone, which is just another kind of a horn thing as well. Let's see what else we have here. When it came out, it got pretty good reviews, but then I think over time, over the last 25 or so years, it's definitely become very critically acclaimed. It shows up on a lot of best of lists for best albums in the 90s, especially albums from 1998. It shows up very highly on a lot of those lists. It's an amazing album. When I was doing research for this project, this 1998 Represent, I was going through just seeing some of the albums that because the thing with this series is I am doing stuff that is stuff that I was familiar with from back then, as well as stuff that came out back then that I maybe didn't listen to, didn't watch, didn't play, and so on. And this is an album that I knew about it, but I never had actually like fully listened to it until maybe like month and a half, 2 months ago. I was somewhat familiar with the title track off the album "In the Aeroplane Over the Sea" from the old, I don't even know if it's still a game on Facebook anymore, but the old Facebook game Song Pop, because you would basically choose a category, and you and another player would basically be, it would play like a snippet of a song. You would click, it was multiple choice, so you'd be like, what song is this? You would click on it, and basically you're just playing up to a high score. And it was usually like, if you click the song faster than your opponent, you got more points, and then if you didn't miss any songs, you got more points, and so on. But I was kind of only familiar with that song through like a little snippet of it on that game, and I remember like getting good enough at that game where I could basically just identify it kind of right away. But like I said, I hadn't listened to the full album until somewhat recently, and the first time I listened to it, I enjoyed it. I thought it was good. It was definitely kind of like a weird kind of experience because I really wasn't sure like what I thought of it. I knew it was like it was definitely good, but then like on subsequent listens, it got better and better and better each time. Like I listened to it twice today just to kind of get ready for this, and then I listened to it maybe a couple weeks ago, and then like so I've probably listened to it like at least maybe 4 or 5 times, and it seems to get every time I listen to it, it seems to get better and better. Let's see here. The lyrics in here are I think Jeff Mangum is the how you pronounce the singer and basically like the songwriter for these albums. I believe they did on Avery Island first, and then they followed it up with this one. And I think they have since broken up. I think they only did these 2 albums. But the lyrics are very emotional. They're very kind of they play into like the themes of love and kind of just like longing for like the past and what have you, and like just very very emotional lyrics. So the lyrics are also very surreal. There's like a song about like a two-headed boy or somebody playing a like piano like being like on like fire in like 1945 and what have you. And I remember reading as well that a lot of the lyrics in here are kind of based on the diary of Anne Frank as well. So a lot of that stuff kind of makes sense once like going back and doing that research and figuring out like reading some stuff about it, about how it was based. Like I said, it shows them on multiple best albums lists. If you're going to listen to it, it definitely helps to listen to it multiple times. I don't think I got the full kind of breadth of what was going on with my first listen. And then it's definitely, I think, better on vinyl because like every other time I've listened to it once on vinyl when this showed up, and it was a much better experience than just listening to it on my phone here. Because I usually just listen to it as I'm walking or going to work or something like that. It's a somewhat short listen. It's like 40 minutes, so it's like the perfect length for my kind of like my bus ride to work. Or if I'm just going out for a walk, it's like a nice 40 minutes, and I can usually complete the album in like one trip to work or what have you. But yeah, just one thing I want to read here. Let me bring it up. It's a Rolling Stone bit because it has shown up on some of their best albums lists. And I'm just going to read an excerpt here from this thing. It says, over the years, this album has come up in multiple conversations I've had with fellow music fans. Many citing it as a huge Many citing it as a huge favorite of theirs. I listened to it a few years ago, but to be honest, I didn't remember a note. On release, the reviews were lukewarm, not bad as such, but nothing to write home about. In subsequent years, the record has been hailed by critics and fans alike. The general consensus is that this record requires multiple listens to fully be appreciated. I feel that. On first listen this morning, it didn't do huge amounts for me. It was okay. But like the critics felt in 1998, nothing to write home about. On my second listen, it's getting better. And let me just bring up some of the lyrics for title track here. Is King of Carrot Flowers, Part 1. And just some of the lyrics here, if you just like ever want to have like a good time, like type in like the names of like, if you haven't heard of Genius, I would definitely check it out. It's like a cool place where you can basically read kind of like annotations of various song meanings. They're not necessarily from the artist, but like they're kind of like these are how people are interpreting these lyrics. So, um, beginning of the King of Carrot Flowers, Part One, it says, you were young, you were the king of carrot flowers, and how you built a tower tumbling through the trees, in holy rattlesnake that fell all around your feet." So that's kind of like it sounds like building like a tower, maybe like climbing trees as a kid, having like being like making yourself a character. Like this character that he's talking to is the king of carrot flowers, like a little character you create as a kid. And then the song kind of turns a little bit, and then it says, and your mom, or your, well, it says mom, and your mom would stick a fork right into daddy's shoulder, and dad would throw the garbage all across the floor, as we would lay and learn what each other bodies were for. And then there's more songs about like you definitely see there's like some like abuse going on here and what have you. Let me just see where the other. Oh yeah, here we go. And your mom would drink until she was no longer speaking, and dad would dream of all the different ways to die, each one little more than he could dare to try. So very like heart. I don't know if like heartfelt's the right word here, but the lyrics are just very emotional, and there's like a lot of just like stuff that you like maybe don't pick up on the first time, and a lot of like the songs are just about like stuff that isn't particularly great. It's just yeah, like I said, it's just very emotional lyrics. I'm not the best at kind of like analyzing the lyrics or even like just discussing music in general. I can usually just tell you if I liked an album or not. But yeah, this it's just it's become one of my favorite albums, even though I've only have like started listening to it within like the last like couple months. So definitely check it out. It should be streamable, like wherever you stream your music. I picked up the vinyl for like it was like $16 or something like that. But definitely an amazing album, easily worth checking out. Don't be surprised if this album shows up on the other series that I'm working on this year, which is like 52 essential albums, where each week we're doing a different music album. Like, don't be surprised if this one shows up on that series as well. So I think that's going to do it for this video. Just a quick programming note for next week. Next week we're still going to be doing our two 1998 videos and our 52 essential songs. However, we are just basically shifting the normal episode that's on Thursdays for 1998 represent to Friday. So it'll basically be music video or 52 essential albums on Tuesday, and then Friday we'll do our 1998 represent. The reason we're switching it to Friday is it will be Captain Picard Day, and to kind of coincide with that, we will be watching Star Trek Insurrection. I'll be watching it obviously before that. We'll be discussing it on Friday's episode, and then Sunday we should be back to probably doing like a video game or something, because we're basically like kind of switching it around to do a movie to fit Picard Day. But again, that's going to do it for this video. Remember to like, comment, share, and subscribe. We'll see you again next time. Thanks again for watching. Take care and have a good one.